Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy out there. Today I wanted to share with you my favorite podcast that I have been listening to either over the last couple of years or so that I highly recommend you guys take a listen to while we're all self-quarantined, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let me know by subscribing. If you are new to my channel, hello and welcome, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you want to see what my favorite podcasts are, then let's get started. Okay, so it goes without saying, true crime and podcasts go hand in hand. So some of my top favorite podcasts are true crime, documentaries, investigations, all of that. So the first one that I love is called the Crime Junkie Podcast. It's so good, you guys. It's like sitting down with your best friends and just talking about your favorite murders. So if you're obsessed with all things true crime, this is definitely going to be on the top of your list. Each episode is a new crime and they break every episode into unsolved, solved. Definitely one of the top ones if you haven't already listened to it. The next one is called Up and Vanished, and this is a podcast that got me hooked on podcasts in general. Before that, I did not listen to a single podcast. I listened to it in real time, so as new episodes were coming out, I was listening to it, and I even went to the finale of season 1. So the first season centers around a missing teacher and pageant queen from a small town in Georgia, and the case was so crazy, you guys, like kind of unthinkable. She was missing for over a decade. The case went cold. There were no leads. Everything just went flat until the podcast. And I do have to say, in season 1, he solves the case. And hopefully they'll do another season, but I know he did get a TV show picked up for Up and Vanished, so he might be working on that, but it's really, really, really good. My third favorite true crime, this one is called Root of Evil, and if you've ever heard of the Black Dahlia case, this is a podcast that you must listen to. So two sisters, Yvette and Rasha, are investigating the murder of Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia, and I think it was like 1947, and they uncover a deep, dark family secret that no one knew about ever, and it completely takes their world by storm. It involves their great-grandfather, who is the #1 suspect. Not proven, but he was the #1 suspect in the Black Dahlia murder. They actually interviewed their mother who was involved, and the history of that family is just very, very, very sad, but it kind of gives you an insight into why some people are the way that they are, and also insight into why they believe that George Hodel was the murderer of the Black Dahlia. Moving on to my lifestyle favorites. These are a mixture of like horticulture, just motivation, and financial favorites that I love to listen to on a weekly basis. So the first one is called Living Fully with Mallory Irvin, and she's a YouTuber here. Her podcast is around daily motivation to keep you going, and I feel like right now that is such a good time to start listening to her podcast, only because we all need a little bit of encouragement with everything that's going on right now. It's kind of affecting us in ways that we couldn't have imagined, so just listening to her podcast gives me a little bit of hope every day. I like to listen to this either in the morning. Sometimes if I'm working, I don't have to like really focus on what I'm doing, or even at night when I'm doing my skincare routine. It's just a really nice reprieve, and I think there's new episodes every Monday, so definitely give that one a listen to. Okay, my second favorite lifestyle, if you're anything like me, you love plants, you're obsessed with everything, house plants, dirt, all of that. So this one is called On the Ledge, and it is one of my favorite quirky little podcasts that I was so happy to find. The host just talks about every single plant that you can imagine, every single house plant. Her voice is so funny. It's like an English accent, but it kind of reminds me of Downton Abbey. Sometimes she'll have like guest hosts on there, so Summer Rain Oaks went on there, the plant guy, just a ton of different guest speakers talking about their favorite plants, or what plants you should buy or what plants you should avoid, all of that. The third one is called She Makes Money Moves. This is, of course, a financial podcast, which I think is so important to listen to in this time that we're in. So basically, this is a podcast for the average day millennial, giving you tips from real women who have questions, whether it's like how to separate your finances if you're getting engaged and getting married, how to create a budget once you have graduated, what to do if you are just starting off with stocks and bonds or investing. Every episode is something different. They'll have guest speakers come on and answer the questions and really give real life like advice. And I think it's extremely useful, especially if there's a topic that you're not really well versed in or you have no clue where to start. So since we're all stuck in the house, what better time than now to learn how to manage your money? Okay, so I have 3 favorites in my history category, and the first one is a little different in terms of history. This one is called Unobscured, and the first season was all about the Salem witch trials. I feel like that's always a topic that I'm always really interested in. I don't know why, but it gives you like the history and primer of how it was created, what happened during the movement, what happened after the movement, and how it affected society post the Salem witch trials. It's so good. It's definitely one of those that you don't want to listen to late at night because it will creep you out, but otherwise it is so good. The second history one is called American History Tellers. I love this one, you guys. I love all of them, but this one I love so much. So every season is a different topic in American history, from the Cold War, Prohibition, the Civil Rights Movement, and he doesn't just like narrate or speak to you. It's like a fully immersive podcast. There's background noises, there's actors' voices, there's so much, like, it's just feels so, I don't know, it's like one of those things kind of like ASMR where it like feels good in your ears, having him narrate what's going on, but then also hearing like horse and buggy in the background or like people chattering. So it's not just like sitting down for a podcast, you're also you kind of feel like you're in the scene of the podcast, even though you can't see anything. My last favorite history podcast is called Catholic. It's a newer one, and this one pretty much explains the lies, the crimes, and unheard of events that shook Atlanta to the core way back in the day. These are all cases that I have never heard of in my entire life, and I've been in Atlanta for over a decade now. I never learned this in school or never even heard about it, but yet we drive by it every single day, and some of us actually live in the buildings where these events took place. So definitely check this one out if you want to hear like a historical story that's a little bit different than what you've ever heard of. Almost done with my favorites list. This genre is around influencer marketing and entrepreneurship, and the first podcast I love in this genre is called Her Life by Design by Christina Galbato. I listen to her all the time. She is so well spoken, and I feel like I get the most value from her content. She has first-hand knowledge from being a travel influencer for so many years. I find myself taking notes for her podcast, as well as my next favorite one called Blogging Unscripted, and this is by an influencer that I never heard of before. Very transparent, very open, like Christina. This influencer's name is called Danielle Gervino, and she's an Instagram influencer as well as a blogger, and she just spills all of the knowledge out for us. Her podcast episodes are not as frequent as Christina's, which is kind of a bummer because it's such good content, but she does have what she has uploaded now. She has a lot of great insight to share that I think it's very important, and again, I have taken so many notes from her podcast to just help me along with my influencer journey. And then the last favorite one is about news, and this one is called The Daily by the New York Times. If you just want a daily dose of news, but you don't want to hear the same thing over and over again, I know it kind of sucks, but I feel like every time I turn on the news or just look on CNN or whatever, it's the same thing every single day. The Daily gives you a fresh take on news. Every day is a new major story with a little bit of highlights at the end covering what's trending around the world and in the United States, and it's just a really good podcast to listen to. Every episode's around 25 minutes. You're not wasting time. It's like a great commuting podcast or getting ready podcast, or if you're going to take a little break. It's just really short and insightful, but very concise and to the point. So I hope you enjoyed my podcast recommendations. Leave me your podcast recommendations in the comments down below. I love checking out new ones, and it would be great to share with everyone out there. I hope you're staying safe and healthy during this time. Again, if you are new, subscribe to this channel and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in a couple days in a brand new video. Bye!